it's Luz with Love here and welcome to today's build video. Now usually I start my build videos by obviously building the house, but this time I thought I'd take it a little differently and make the family to live there first. So the house that we are building today is a tiny farmhouse, and the idea behind this is that the family is kind of poor. They can't really afford a full farmhouse. I mean, they can still afford this, which is a pretty expensive lot, although most of it is in landscaping. But yeah, they can't really afford a full big farmhouse, but they do want to live on a nice farm and grow their own vegetables, and they want to keep some bees, and that's why they live in this tiny farmhouse. So the family consists of two people. There's Peter, who's the single dad, and his daughter, whose name is Cassie. And the storyline is that Cassie's mother left Peter for like a rich businessman. She doesn't see them anymore, and Peter and Lucy are... Not Lucy, why do I say Lucy? Oh, I know why I say Lucy. You know why? Because of the episodes of How I Met Your Mother with Stella, who has a daughter named Lucy. And my name is also Lucy. And for some reason, I just keep calling this little girl Lucy. Anyways, this little girl is called Cassie, not Lucy. And she is quite a creative kid. She likes to write, she likes to draw, and she also likes to help around the farm a bit. So her outfits, when I made her after I am finished making Peter here, she is wearing better clothes than he is. He's wearing quite a bit of, ragged clothes and things with holes in them, whereas she has like a nice and pretty dress, and then her other outfit is, an outfit that she wears to help around the farm. And I didn't actually talk about their traits yet at all. And Cassie is, as I said, a creative kid, and she's a dog lover. They don't have a dog yet, but they will live in Brindleton Bay, which means that they will probably adopt a stray. And Peter is a vegetarian. He loves the outdoors, and he's gloomy. And I thought that the gloomy part kind of fit him, divorcing his wife and, her leaving him for another subjectively more successful man. And he pours all his effort and all his love into Cassie and into the little farm that they have. So, as I said, Peter is vegetarian. So I was thinking maybe this is like a vegan farm, because we can't really make a different farm than a vegan farm in The Sims at the moment, and it kind of fits my storyline anyways. So this is like a vegan farm where they plant a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits, and they also keep bees. So maybe they're trying to, help the local bee population, and they're very sustainability conscious. So I feel like my inspiration for this build and this family really came from a combination of the pack that we expected we would be getting and the pack that we are getting for the new expansion pack. And now anyways, we are moving on to the actual building part now. So this will be a tiny home, and this house itself is 64 tiles, but then I do go ahead to add like a little garden kitchen and outdoor kitchen, and that makes the tile count higher. There's also a shed, which is not included in the tile count, because I made that thinking, okay, I'll just cheat my way around the tile count, but then I couldn't cheat my way around the tile count when it came to the outdoor kitchen. So it's like the biggest tiny house that it can be, but technically the house itself, even though you don't have the perks, is 64 tiles. And I was looking at quite a bit of images of farmhouses online, and I couldn't really find any of tiny farmhouses, but I did find quite a few that inspired me sort of with this concept that I was going for. And I added a little front porch, and it took me a long time to figure out what the wall patterns should be on the outside. I was kind of playing around with some stones or sliding, and it kept going for a while. So I just wanted to keep it in the footage, because even though it is like a 30 seconds of me just switching the colors on that house, I thought it's realistic, and it helps you see my thought process. And sometimes when I watch people on YouTube, I feel like, oh my god, they got everything figured out once they go into the build, and I forget to take into account that they may have edited, you know, some of the parts out of the video. So that's why I do sometimes edit out parts of videos that are just way too long. But when it's something like not being able to decide on, you know, what the sliding should be, I try keep it in when it's not too much of an inconvenience, because it helps you see that, you know, I do struggle. I do struggle quite a bit when I build. And this house itself, I think, took about 3.5 hours to build. There's quite a bit at the end where I'm just like planting the plans for screenshots. So that's actually included in the recording. So I don't think it's that much in the end. But I'm building this on the 30 by 20 lot in Brindleton Bay. And while I do love Brindleton Bay, anytime I try to build there, the lighting is just awful. And I realized that maybe on this lot, that's because I am building it like not from the front, if you know what I mean. Like the front of the house is not where the front of the lot is, because I didn't realize where the front of the lot was when I started building. I just assumed it's, you know, most of the lots are lengthwise. But this one is wider than it's long, actually. So when your sim appears coming from school or something, they appear on the long side, not on the short side, which is quite rare in The Sims, but is the case with this slot. But the lighting is a little weird on this slot, I feel like. And in all of Brindleton Bay, I feel like I can never get the correct lighting to see everything that I need. Let me know if that's the same for you. I do love the world, but for building, sometimes it's a little annoying. And now I am building the little barn in the back, which is gonna be like a little tool shed slash barn slash just like a place to put anything they don't know where to put. There's their bikes in there, there's like a wash tub for laundry, there's quite a bit of tools and just crates laying around. So I thought that was quite a realistic thing to have on a farmhouse, because, you know, you would definitely want something like this if you are using your garden a lot, if you're gardening, if you're taking care of a lot of plants, you need space. And now you can see me sort of dividing the space in the back into little, I don't want to call them fields because that's very far away, but you know, I just added little fenced in areas for maybe different produce and things like that. And there is one that's gonna be for bees and flowers, there's one that's just gonna be for apple trees, and the rest of them are going to be just a variety of veggies, herbs and fruits. And I'm adding that little outdoor kitchen that I was talking about, because the kitchen that ends up being in the house is teeny tiny. There's like no space at all. I kind of planned on having a tiny kitchen inside, and then since they are quite outdoorsy people, they would obviously want to have a little kitchen outside as well, and that one is a bit bigger. But still, this is a tiny farm, so everything is kind of tiny. And I do love this concept, and I do love the idea of, you know, them saying, maybe we can't afford to live on like a regular giant farm, you know, with plenty of horses and giant fields, but we can live on this tiny farm, and that's going to be our place where we are going to be happy. And I just love that concept. And now you can see me adding some terrain paint to the back as pathways, and later on I'm gonna line them with plants, and you're gonna see I'm gonna cut out a bit of the landscaping, but I'm gonna make sure that you see everything that I have done, even if it may be in like a later shot. And those fences from cats and dogs are really cute, but I hate the gates that come with them. I don't get it. Why couldn't we get just like a regular small gate to go with it? I mean, I don't mind the tall one, but I never use it. So if we could have gotten like another short gate for that. I mean, I got away with it pretty well using just like a different one. I don't think it matters that much. But yeah, it would have been nice to have just like a short gate that fits this exact fence. And you can see me terrain paint some of the rows of vegetables on, which I'm gonna plant plants to later on. And yes, around the kitchen, that's gonna be the little apple orchard kind of thing. And I didn't fence in the whole farmhouse because I thought they'd maybe want to have like a little bit more space to run around for the girl, and they don't have any pets. I mean, they don't have any pets yet, but I think they train them pretty well not to run away, you know. And now you can see me starting with some landscaping, laying down some plants, and I'm gonna skip ahead in time of the laying down plants part because it just gets very similar in every single build. So now you can see that magically a bunch of plants appeared all around the house. There you can see that I'm adding some more plants to the back so that I align the path along the farm. And again, I skipped in time a bit, and yeah, that's basically the landscaping, just a bunch of plants, guys. I mean, that's just the number one rule to landscaping is just add a bunch of plants. It's gonna look good. And now I'm just adding a few little bee boxes. I made every one a different color because I don't know about you, but every time I see bee boxes in like little bee farms, or not that I've ever been to a bee farm, but you know, like in pictures, they're always like each one is a different color. And I'm adding some wall plants as well to make it a little bit more dynamic, add a bit more texture. And I'm sure pretty soon we are going to move on to furnishing the shed and to furnishing the outdoor kitchen. Now I'm just adding some planter boxes, and there we go. Now we are actually furnishing the outdoor kitchen. So for this one, I obviously wanted to have a wood stove, and there's the like off-the-grid kind of fridge. It's the only sort of thing like that we do have. I did want to add a fridge here as well because, as I said, the kitchen inside is really tiny, and honestly I think that unless weather was really crazy, I think they would always just cook in the outdoor kitchen because just they love being outdoors. That's who they are, this little family. And I added this little laundry day sink, which is probably my most used item out of laundry day. Maybe the baskets, like the little decorative baskets. I use those quite a lot as well. But laundry day is just a really good pack, guys. If you don't have it, it should be on top of your wish list. And I'm adding a little bit of clutter, some lamps to the kitchen. I didn't want to clutter up that one counter over there too much because then they wouldn't be able to cook on it. And now I'm moving on to the shed where, oh yeah, and I actually added a clothesline behind the barn as well. Not behind the barn, behind the house. So the barn itself is full of, as I said, there's like 3 bikes, I think. There's 2 of them, so I was thinking maybe one of the bikes is broken, they didn't get rid of it yet. Or, you know, Cassie had that bike as a kid and overgrew it. I know we can't technically have kids ride bikes in The Sims, which is kind of stupid, but storytelling purposes, guys, okay? And a bunch of crates with some fruits in them. And I think this is the first time I've actually used that base game. You know what I mean? The frames with the tools in them that I put in the shed? Yeah, I think I've used that for the first time in this build. And I just painted some more, you know, to add a bit of dimension to the build and so that the plants are not just like growing out of patches of grass. And then I opened up debug and I laid down a bunch of debug apple trees. I couldn't find, for some reason, other plants otherwise besides the apple trees, so all the other plants that you can see later on in the screenshots, I actually had to have Peter plant and water. And I think I have added like a little bit of footage from that to the video so that you can see. Anyways, now I'm moving on to the inside of the farmhouse. It took me a bit to figure out the floor plan, and it is a tiny house, so like they're not gonna have that much space, but they prefer having the outdoor space to having the indoor space, and I think that's really lovely in this family. So this little square 3x3 tile room, that's Peter's bedroom, and I did scoot over the bed to the side of the window because I kind of wanted him to have a double bed because, you know, I didn't want to torture him with just a single bed. He needs to rest. He works in the garden quite a bit, so he needs a good bed, even though it's like the cheapest bed, but you know, he needs a big bed. But he's probably not seeing anybody since his wife left him. He's still kind of not over that completely. He's kind of gloomy, so it doesn't really matter that much that he can't woohoo with anyone in this bed because you know, by the wall, because he's probably not gonna want to. And I'm just putting down a little bench by the legs of the bed, which I thought was kind of cute. Not that practical, but I think it looked good, so let's just go with that. And I added some plants because I thought, of course, he loves the outdoors. He would also want to have some plants in his home, just besides the outside. And I'm adding a picture of some sunflowers, which can also be found in so many of my builds because it's just so versatile. We need more pictures like this. And I added this little landscape one as well, a bunch of more plants, and you know, I love adding plants to builds, and most of my builds have a bunch of plants in them. You guys know if you're watching me regularly. If you're not, please subscribe just to watch me put down a bunch of plants in every build. And now I'm moving on to the girl's bedroom, to Cassie's bedroom. I have to keep correcting myself that her name is Cassie. I don't know why I keep calling her Lucy. Like, she's not that similar to me. But yeah, I'm just adding a little table with a desk chair there, and later on I will find out when I play test this that it doesn't really work. She can't get into the bed. I didn't actually get the play testing on camera, but when you go into the screenshots you can see that I have changed it up, and I just put a little stool on the side, so like technically she can't sit at the table and do her homework like on the table, but she can sit on the stool next to the table. So I thought, you know, good enough. Yeah, but I get why this is not working, but I wish it would, because it would make tiny builds so much easier. And I'm just adding a bunch of clutter. I gave her a little journal because she's creative, and now I'm moving on to the bathroom, where I added this. I call this the grandma shower tub combo, because I put this in every single grandma house and I put it in this house as well. Now I'm using the Parenthood sink because you guys know I love the Parenthood sink, and then I realized I forgot to put in any washing machines and I didn't have space for them on the inside, so I just decided to add it like a little wash tub to the little barn that we have in the back, which I thought that was quite realistic for a family like this. And I added some clutter to the bathroom, and then we move on to the living space. So now this 2x2 tile space that you see, that's the indoor kitchen, that's it. And there's like a little sink on the side that I add later on as well, which is not within the space, because when I play tested it, adding the sink like to the one more space that's empty in the kitchen, it didn't work. So I just added like a little shelf on there, and I put the sink behind the corner there, because I thought, you know what, that's probably going to be handy if they're coming from the garden and they want to wash their hands as they walk in. I know the bathroom is like right there next to it, but you know, it's handy to have a sink if you work on a farm just by the door. And for the little sofa and a little TV space, I put that in the corner over there, and they do also have a little dining table that I'm gonna add later on. And I put some toys down as well for Cassie to play with, and some plants, of course, some plants. And now I'm adding the dining table. As you can see, this space is really built for two, because I don't think Peter would be bringing anybody new home to Cassie, no new lady or gentleman, you know, that he would start dating, because he's still quite broken-hearted from his previous marriage. So this house is really built for just the two of them, and it fits them well. There's a table with 2 chairs, and there's a 2-seater sofa, because they don't need any more. And it took me quite a while to figure out what to do with this blank wall by the sofa. And then I remembered that I always love using these little basket shelves kind of things from Laundry Day. Anyways, we are getting quite close to the end of this video at this point, so let me just let you know that this video was made in collaboration within the Discord server Simmer Squad, where plenty of monthly and weekly challenges like this are happening that you can take part in. So if you would like to join, click the link in the description below. It's a really fun server. There's quite a bit of giveaways as well going on, and a lot of fun simmer friends. So do join if that's something that you'd be interested in, because I really do love that server. And I'm just adding a little bit of final touches to the outside area, some gardening tools outside the back, and yeah, that's basically it. I noticed that a mailbox has spawned in the back garden, so I fixed that and put it back in the front. And now we're basically going to be moving on to the screenshots in a minute. I'm just adding some debug fruits and vegetables, then I'm having Peter plant them all, doing which he reached like skill level 5 in gardening. Then he watered them all, and then I ordered them all in neat little rows so that I could take the screenshots. And anyways, here are the actual screenshots. I think it looks pretty neat. I do like the idea of a tiny farm, and I can't wait to play in this space because I do plan on playing with this family. And if you like this video, please make sure to give it a like and comment down below. I really appreciate every single comment and like. It really means a lot to me. If you are not yet subscribed, please do, because I have 3 videos or even more sometimes coming every week, and I have a lot of exciting content coming up. So thank you for watching. Bye!